It was to my shock that when I first saw Rocket Racing, it was rated 2.9 out of 5 stars on the Xbox store, and so I didn't even think it was worth trying. And then I got Fortnite again over the course of last night, and I played Rocket Racing for the first time, say, 2 hours ago, and it wasn't bad. I was surprised in a good way. That wasn't to say that I thought it was masterful or anything like that. There are many racing titles I'd rather play. Most of the Mario Karts follow under that category. But it was good. It was decent. Serviceable is the right word for it. What I found pretty interesting about it is how, at its core, it's just a simple, thrilling racing game. But the fact it's so simple is probably what counts for the most here. And the reason why that is it's an easy game to learn. A lot of casual players can learn this game. Put emphasis on learn because there's the more intermediate players that can take those basic moves and those basic controls and use them in creative and innovative ways to make themselves better, to improve. And the advanced players can take that an even further step. And so having a game that's based around such simple maneuvers and gimmicks is always a good idea in my opinion, because you allow there to be a learning process to games like this. Now, I am well aware games with this sort of design in mind do lead to very sweaty and competitive players, and they are everywhere. They're like a parasite that has spread very far out, unfortunately. And just about any online game nowadays in 2024, you can't escape. It's very hard to find a casual multiplayer game. But to this game's credit, ranked is something you can do right out the gate, so having that as a means to climb up the ranks and be matched with players that are relatively close to your skill, I think is decent. It's decently handled here, even if not perfect. Now, there are some other good qualities about this game that I do like. Its presentation is pretty nice. It's not anything stellar, it's not revolutionary, but it's comfortable. It's playful, it's exciting, it doesn't have to be super realistic and glowy like some other racing games out there. It's vibrant, which is enough for me. Now, here's something I have a bit of a mixed bag about. I'm very mixed about this because on one hand I'm for it, and on the other I'm not really with it. So, it's the fact that we ripped the function straight out of Rocket League and put it into here. Like the move sets, the designs, everything, right? It's Rocket League, but instead of kicking a ball around, now you're racing on tracks. The functionality of such works well. Believe you me, I'm not doubting that for a second. But the fact that you just rip the moveset from one game to put into another just makes this feel kind of recycled in a way. It's like we're provided with an answer to a hypothetical and rhetorical question about what Rocket League would be like if it was not soccer related. That's kind of my impression of it, in essence. It's like asking what Rocket League would look like in a different timeline if things were done differently. And I'm not entirely against this. Like I said, I do like this game. It's fun, and I do find it to be a little bit more casual than most online games nowadays. Now, from a gameplay standpoint, how do I feel? Well, this is going to be a bit of a hard one to tackle for me. Is it fair to say that while it's fun most of the times that it isn't fun, which makes up maybe 20% of the time for me, it feels a little bit soulless. This isn't like Mario Kart where you have items or anything like that. It's just a bare bones racing game with a couple cool gimmicks, right? The issue for me is that if you are front running a race and you are doing really good at front running a race, you have the same level of advantage as everybody else, right? There's nothing super crazy here. You watch out for obstacles, you do your drifts when you can, you build up boost, you use that boost when you have your straightaways and shit like that, and then you just win. And at times when I'm 10, 15 seconds ahead of second place, it's just all I gotta do is just keep driving forward. There's no need to defend myself like in Mario Kart. Mario Kart says, here's a green shell coming your way, here's some banana peels that players have left on the last lap. Second place has red shells and mushrooms coming in on you, right? You have to be careful when you're playing a game like Mario Kart, right? Because while it's all friendly and colorful and bubbly and expressive, there's genuine brains needed to do well in that game at times, especially if you're playing the older titles. With this, however, it's all up to you, which in theory sounds good because you can't complain if you do bad at this game, but if you are too good, you're actually taking the experience away from yourself. I thoroughly enjoyed the matches where everything's really close and tight, way more than the matches where it's piss easy for me. Now granted, if you're winning a shit ton, your rank is only going to go up that much faster. So, maybe my complaint's a little bit arbitrary, but for the first 2 ranks, Bronze 1, Bronze 2, and a bit of Bronze 3, I kind of felt like it was just too easy to fully enjoy, and only in the couple matches where I had a hard time did I really begin to feel that thrill. Before, I had mentioned about how Rocket League's functions were taken from there and put into here, but I also want to talk about how they translate in terms of controls. Keep in mind though, this is the experience of somebody who's never played Rocket League on keyboard and mouse, so I don't really know how similar they are. Now let's dig into this. So, even though I was struggling with getting used to the controls and the functions those controls make themselves, I want to talk more about the controls within the game itself. Steering feels relatively good, boosting feels good, everything like that. The game controls fine, except for one bigger thing. The drifting in this game is questionable. Like the hard power slide kind of drifting, I mean. It's hard to get used to, and that's because the control of your vehicle is all over the place when it comes to drifting. Don't get me wrong, you're compensated for that lack of control when you get a speed boost, but unless I'm just missing something here, the drifting is passable, but nothing close to special. The last thing I want to touch upon is track variety, and it's alright, I guess. I've played probably about, I would like to guess, 12 to 16 matches, and I feel like I've played most tracks at least twice, and unless there's a low amount of tracks in this game, it just seems like there's not a whole lot to offer in terms of unique environments. But maybe that has to do with your rank, I'm not sure. Keep in mind this is from a beginner standpoint. I'm just Silver 1. I barely touched it. So to sum up how I feel about this, I like it. I would go back to it, and I would recommend anybody who's looking for a bit more of a casual and easy game to learn in 2024 to give this a try if you haven't. I think it's a little bit underappreciated if I'm quite honest, but don't get the wrong idea, this isn't a super amazing game by any means. It'll just provide you some fun times, and it's a good thing to do for maybe an hour every couple days or so, and then you can just move on and play something else. And that's all I needed to say for this video, everybody. If you are somebody who's interested in trying out this game, it's free, right? So give it a download, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your opinions below. Maybe you hate this game, maybe you love it. Regardless though, hope you all enjoyed the video. Have an amazing day, take care for now, goodbye.